Welcome back to Rhythm Guitar Book 2. This book focuses on open chords, strumming, and fingerstyle patterns. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of Rhythm Guitar 2 that you can read from and write in, so I'll leave a link for that in the description. We're on page 40 and we have two new rhythm charts. One is written in rhythmic notation and one is written with slash notation, which means you can practice some of your new comping patterns from page 38. At the top of page 40, we have number R57. This is a rhythm chart. We can see it's mostly slash notation with a little bit of rhythmic notation here and there. It's in 4/4 time and it's marked moderato. Quarter equals 96, and that's what 96 beats a minute sounds like. Because it's written in slash notation, we can use some of our new patterns from page 38. So let's look at the strumming pattern from page 38, the new one. This is going to be 1, 2, and 3, and 4, or down, down, up, down, up, down. And we'll work through it with that first. So it's got a D minor to a G chord. Remember, now your G you can play with fingers 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4. A minor, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 to D minor. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Next line we have two measures of G to start off with, so that's going to be 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then again 2, and 3, and 4, then A minor, 2, and 3, and 4. Now at the end of the second line we have a single quarter note, so no matter what kind of pattern we're doing there, we just stop that and just strum, and we have some rest. We also have that new NC marking above those rests. In this case, that NC is a little redundant because you see those rests anyway, but NC and rest, that pretty much means the same thing. You're going to mute on beat 2, so that measure would, actually let me start from the A minor in the third measure of that line. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then strum, 2, 3, 4. Then we go through our pattern in the third line, D minor, and another D minor. And we go to an A7. Remember, you can play A7 with fingers 1 and 2 or 2 and 3. In this case, I would use fingers 2 and 3 because that's the most efficient way to get from D minor to A7. Anyway, from that A7 we have 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Then we have a whole note with the fermata written over it. So we're just going to strum it, hold it for a while. Then we go back to the D minor. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. G, A minor. And then the D minor at the end is just a strum because we can see there's a whole note. And this one also has the fermata written over it, so we just hold that as long as we feel like. Now let's talk about the finger pattern you could use. We have our new, kind of old and new. It's Pima, P-I-M-A, but instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. So you're playing in eighth notes instead. And we can use alternating bass with this pattern, which I would like you to do. So in that first measure, D minor, and then alternate bass. So our counting there is 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and you're hitting that alternate bass on beat 3. Then you go to your G, same thing. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and hitting your alternate bass on string 4. A minor, 1 and 2, alternate bass on either 6 or 4. I'm going to use 4. And then back to the D minor, which you would handle like you did the first measure. Then we go to a G in the second line, and then an A minor. Now let's talk about how you're going to handle this NC marking at the end of the second line. So before that we have our A minor, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now on beat 1, when we see just this quarter note, we're not just going to hit the bass note, we're going to hit the whole chord. Either strum it or pluck it all, and then mute on beat 2. So from that A minor, the measure before, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have our D minor going through all those patterns again. A7 in the third line. Again, we're going to use fingers 2 and 3, and you could use the same alternate bass notes as you do the A minor. So 2 and 3 and 4 and, or 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Remember, you can do either strings 4 or 6 for your alternate bass for A7. And then we have that whole note with the fermata, which you could strum or pluck. Either way, hold it out for longer than the 4 beats. Then we move to a D minor at the end, G, A minor with alternating bass, of course, and a D minor at the end. Again, whenever you see the actual rhythm written out, you stop doing any sort of pattern. You just play the entire chord, and yes, that D minor has that fermata above it at the end, so you hold that extra. I'm going to play this one just one time, and I'm going to play it fingerstyle, although I encourage you to practice it with both fingerstyle and strumming patterns. It says quarter equals 96, but I'm going to play it at quarter equals 80 for more of a practice tempo. Now, if you can play it faster, go ahead and set your metronome to 96, and you're good to go. If you find that 80 is a little too fast still, that's okay. Just set your metronome to a slower tempo and gradually build up speed. And by the way, I'm going to be playing these fermatas for exactly 8 beats, so we can all stay together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 4, hold for another 2, 3, 4. At the bottom of page 40, we have number R58. It's in 3/4 time. It's marked quarter equals 88, and that's what 88 sounds like. No slashes in this one. It's all rhythmic notation, which means you're going to be strumming whatever rhythms you see. Make sure you're playing down on the downbeats and up on the upbeats. So 1 and 2 and, or down, up, down, up. So let's take a look at some of these chords. It starts off with a D minor, and our rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3, or down, up, down, up, down. That goes immediately to an A7. I recommend playing this A7 with fingers 2 and 3. That's an easier motion than trying to do 1 and 2. So again, from the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. Then A7, 1 and 2 and 3, back to D minor, 2, 3. Make sure you're muting on those rests. Same rhythm in the second line on the C, 1 and 2 and 3 to G7, 2, 3. Remember, the G7 and C have a very similar shape. Going from C to G7, these two fingers just need to move up a string each, and first finger needs to move down 1 string. We go back to the C, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, or down, up, down, up, down, up, down. We move to an A7 in the next line. Let's do this with fingers 2 and 3 because of the D minor coming up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. And take advantage of these rests. You're not doing anything during these rests other than counting, so you might as well be moving to your next chord. So as soon as I play that A7 quarter note and I'm resting, I'm going to be moving to the D minor. And then 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, moving to the next chord. Now we have a C chord in the last line. Rhythm is 1 and 2, 3, or down, up, down, down. Then A7, same rhythm, 1 and 2, 3. Then we have a quick change at the end. We have a D minor and a rest, then an A7 and a D minor. So you might want to practice going back and forth between D minors and A7s for a little while. I'm going to play this one twice through. First time at tempo at quarter equals 88, and second time will be a slower practice tempo at quarter equals 65. As always, go ahead and play along with the video so you can practice keeping a steady tempo, and if you find a tempo is too fast, that's okay. Just start a lot slower and use your own metronome to gradually build up speed. 1, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. One, 2, 3, 1, ready, play. Your assignment is to practice the rhythm charts on page 40 and practice R57 with both strumming and fingerstyle patterns and see if you can incorporate some alternating bass as well. As always, work on keeping a steady beat by playing along with the video or get a metronome and set your own tempo. Practice these rhythm charts until you're comfortable with them, a week, maybe more, maybe less, and when you're ready, I'll see you on page 41. We have one new rhythm chart and one new lead sheet.